The codes of light you carry inside anchor a new way of life. Heart-centered being, awareness and seeing. You are out on the leading.
Hey guys, so just a quick announcement. I recently started a Patreon, so if you would like to support the creation of my videos on my YouTube channel, the link to that is down in the description down below. I have a bunch of really cool rewards. The best of which is that if you pledge a certain amount, I will shout out one of your social media accounts or your business, or a social media account or business of something you'd like to support. So feel free to check that out in the description down below. I'm really excited to be stepping into a new level for my YouTube and abundance and all of that stuff. So thank you so much if you pledge. If not, it's all good. Just putting it out there. Many blessings, you guys.
I need another marmalade.
Hi, Bubba. Hi.
There you go. Girl.
I'm the valet. You have to give me your car.
You know what?
What are you doing, little sweetness? You causing trouble?
-23 degrees, -5 degrees. It's all cold. It is negative freezing right now, always. And that is more than enough cause for me to put on more clothes. I'm not wearing my thermoline pants. I ain't got my long johns on. I got just a t-shirt on, but I got a sweatshirt too. Not dressed for nothing. Sunshine in my pocket.
Anyway, today we are going on a bit of an adventure that I'm a little hesitant about myself.
We're going to get dead baby mice to feed the snake. Not for us, for the snake.
Right.
Because it's a carnivore, it can't be vegan.
Now, here's the thing. I've heard on other channels, people getting on vegan animal lovers, saying that they're not really vegan because they buy mice for their snake.
Well, what are you supposed to feed an animal that's a carnivore?
Well, that's my thought.
I mean, I can't, there's no like,
unless we want snakes to die out, they're gonna eat mice whether they're in the wild, whether they're in captivity, whether anywhere.
I had a dream with a snake and a badger last night.
Interesting.
3 snakes and a badger.
But I just want to put that out there, you guys. Like, vegans aren't against carnivores eating meat. Like, that's what they, like, we're not gonna go trying to get lions on the savannah to start eating their carrots. Like, it's not a thing. So it's important to understand that you have to be aware of what we, you know, what's meant for whoever's eating to eat, if that makes sense. Now, the thing is with humans is we're we're physiologically herbivores. If you look at our digestive tract, our teeth, all that, the way our jaws move, we're not even omnivores. We are herbivores, and that's really important to understand. Our intestines are way longer than we would if we have meat, because if you eat meat, it can putrefy in your gut, which is super gross.
That's disgusting.
Now, I know a lot of people, let's see if we can do this,
Looks like wishbone. Sorry.
who are vegan say that owning animals is not vegan. Bless you. I'm not sure where I fall on that, to be honest. I think if something's bred in captivity already, it's not like we can release it into the wild. I am not happy about the fact that they catch animals in the wild to bring in. If it's out in the wild, it's already out in the wild. You're just imprisoning it. Please stop doing that. If it's going to be born in captivity, it can't be out in the wild. That's a different story. Now, whether or not you believe in breeding or whatever, there's a whole other conversation there. But that being said,
especially when it comes to snakes, because there's so many issues. If you look down in Florida and whatnot, there are so many people that buy their animals that are bred in captivity or what have you, and then they release them into the wild. And now Florida has a problem with snakes and pythons and anacondas moving up from the south, which is a migration issue that has to do with territory and whatnot, which oddly enough is due to deforestation, which a large part of deforestation comes from cutting down the forest so we can grow food that we can feed to our cattle so that we can slaughter them and eat hamburgers.
Instead of just eating the vegetables in the first place.
But you can't just release some of these animals into the wild, especially up where I mean, look outside right now. You want to release a ball python into that? No, thank you. It's gonna die. So my friend put up the video of that guy that goes shopping and says how you go shopping after what the hell. And he's just walking around filming all the meat and cheese like, oh, diabetes, you trying to feed yourself? Nope, just kidding, here's some cancer. Oh, you want to feed your kids? Just kidding, kiddibetes. And I commented on my friend's post that, you know, I couldn't even go into the meat department anymore. That the only reason I go to the meat department is because they put those Clausen pickles, the most delicious type of pickles, in the meat department so they can keep cold. They just strategically place these motherfuckers in the department just to make me go in there. Why not put them anywhere else? It's a pickled cucumber. Put it in the produce department. You put it in the dairy department. You put it in the juice. Put it in the juice spot. All that stuff's going in the fridge anyways. Put the cold pickles next to the juice. It doesn't have to be in the meat department. Stop fucking with me. Damn. But like the disconnect between the fact that when I ate meat, going into the meat department was not a problem. You're just walking through a bunch of corpses, picking up slabs of something of flesh. It's so disconnected. I feel uncomfortable getting mice, baby mice, dead, frozen baby mice to feed to a snake because I can see the mouse's face. But yet I can walk into the meat department and buy fucking 10 pounds of hamburger and then just slap that shit together in the hamburgers and like not have any sort of emotional response. We're so disconnected from the fact that both of those were living creatures that died for consumption. And yes, the mouse is going to feed a snake, which can eat nothing but meat. That is literally what they survive off of. They're not like, you know, they're not omnivores, they're not any of that. They have to eat that to survive. And if you want to keep that as an animal, you have to feed them what they eat. And so that's on you. But then you get to feeding yourself and you don't even feel that emotional response. I walk into the meat department, I used to, I can't anymore, but I, you know, walk into the meat department like, oh, that looks tasty. Oh, that looks tasty. I'm gonna eat the crap out of that. Pork tenderloin, fucking butterfly that open, beautiful. But then you can't even pick up a dead baby mouse in the store to feed your snake because it's got a face on it. Can you imagine if they started selling? Like
a lot of carnists really have a hard time with that.
Yeah, you know, and that's what I was
They won't feed their snake live.
Right, well, I mean, we won't feed the snake live. I've seen a snake eat a live mouse before. My friend used to, Dalton, when he had his snake, Malenko, before it passed away, he used to feed it live mice. I could never, I watched it one time. You gotta pick them out? Yeah.
You gotta pick out the live mice. I've seen people do that. Like
I couldn't do it. I did it one time with him, and I couldn't do it ever again. And that's where I swore, like, I probably wasn't gonna own a snake because I couldn't handle that, the live feeding process. And I mean, even today, she just had those little baskets, and I knew that they were already dead, and I knew that it was going to feed an animal that has to eat that to survive, but I still was getting such an emotional response.
I was really weird, like, because I have such a, like, desire to keep things alive that I literally looked at it and I had just like this split second of like, oh, we could just take it out and save it.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
We'll just thaw that motherfucker out and resuscitate it and it'll be fine, and then we'll have a mouse to raise as our own. But you can't, it's dead. But you don't feel that emotional response when you're picking up, you know, like a chicken breast. It's the same thing. People keep chickens as pets. But because you don't see the face of that chicken, they don't put the face of the chicken on the chicken breast package.
Like the actual face.
You know? Yeah. And I mean, some of them do. They have that, like, the character of the chicken on there. It's like, oh, look, you're eating chicken. Yay.
But it's always a drawing.
Yeah, it's a drawing. It's completely different. There's not an actual... They don't actually take a picture of each chicken and put it on the package with its corresponding meat, because that would be ugly, that'd be grotesque. But what you're doing is grotesque, realistically, if you look at it from that point of view, you know? I mean...
You're eating a dead corpse.
You're eating a dead corpse. And it's not a survival aspect. That argument just drives me nuts. If you were on a deserted island and you had to choose between dying or eating to survive, well, I'm not. I'm living in a place that has a grocery store 5 minutes away from my house. You know, like, I don't need to eat it to survive. There's so many other things that I can survive off of.
There's a difference between a circle of life situation where that's what you have to do to survive. But we're not even close to needing to do that.
We don't even live in the circle of life anymore. Because let's be real, if we existed in the circle of life, all of us would be dead. I mean, humans as a whole are one of
our meat consumption would be so much lower because you'd have to, like, kill the animal. It would last you several months.
I mean, look at lions. Lions are carnivores, and yet they fail how many times out of each hunt that they go through? I mean, watch Planet Earth once and you figure it out. They fail like 8 times to their 10 times hunting. And humans did the same thing. Yeah, we got bigger brains and whatnot, and that was an argument that somebody presented to me the other day. It was all the brain thing. We just figured out that it was easier to just grow these animals and slaughter them.
I mean, it's smart. It makes sense where they were coming from.
Like, I get it, but that also at that time, they were looking for survival. They were malnourished human individuals.
Well, but 100 years ago, people ate way less meat than we do now,
even
too.
40 years ago.
Right,
you know, like,
so it was a different situation.
In the 50s, you know, stuff like that. There was, it was a whole different thing. Meat was a small portion of the meal.
Right.
You know,
it was a delicacy. It was something we
it was the special part of the meal. You know, like, you had your vegetables, you had your starch, and then you had a little bit of meat because that's all you could afford to eat. That's all. It cost so much. But now people literally build.
Now people worry about
meals.
Protein intake, and we're eating like 3-4 times the amount of meat.
Nobody's protein deficient. Let's be real. The only people who are protein deficient, like, I don't even know. On
What the Health, they were saying, like, no, this doctor was saying, I've never had someone come in from a protein deficiency.
Right. And
ever.
like, name one person that you know of that suffers from a protein deficiency.
Specifically. Not just worried about it, but like
actually a doctor can verify and be like, you're not getting enough protein in your diet. The only people that I can think of are people that just blindly go into veganism and don't understand how to eat correctly. The people that just sit there eating Pop-Tarts and Oreos, guilty, and don't supplement anything else. But that's a completely different thing, you know? Like, it's not that the food source isn't available to them. They just don't have enough wherewithal or knowledge to get that food source. But it's there. It's present. It's available. They're not dying of a protein deficiency because there's not enough protein in the diet because it doesn't exist. They're just not getting enough protein because they don't know where to get it from.
But you could have a lack of nutrient from any diet you have.
Exactly, you know? But like, this whole, like, you have to eat meat because you need to get protein, that's not accurate.
Well, and also, they talk about, like, the biggest animals on the planet are herbivores.
Right.
You've got elephants, rhinoceroses, all these things.
Gorillas.
They're pure fucking muscle.
Gorillas are they're one of the strongest things on the planet, and they're huge.
And biologically, we're more like them than carnivores.
Yeah.
So
and
it makes sense.
They literally, and you know, they have those big sharp teeth, but they don't have those big sharp teeth so they can go around killing shit. They have those big sharp teeth so they can rip through the bamboo that they have to eat, or they can rip through the husk of any of the fruits or vegetation products that they have to go through.
It's really about the molars that you have to look at. Are they grinding, or are they for, like, tearing?
I mean, look at a gorilla eat. He's just chilling there, stripping stuff, and then, like, grinding his teeth, you know? Like, I watched animal documentaries my entire life, from the time that I could see until current. I still do. Planet Earth, give me some of that. But no, I had that argument with my dad the other day. I was explaining the jawline and how that works. And that's what I said, he's like getting closer and closer. But yeah, it's just the arguments for eating meat are much less put together and mostly ignorant and non-existent when it comes to
Mostly comes from just programming.
Yeah,
And just people
that's,
thinking they know what they
again,
need.
I was talking about the government. I try really hard not to make it like a full round circle conspiracy theory, but it really is, and one of the parts of my added another cog in the wheel was my dad added another cog into the wheel of the conspiracy was retail grocers. They're just trying to make money, much like the food industry, much like the pharmaceutical industry. All of these people are just trying to make money. And at the moment, you're told that meat and dairy and all of that is what makes you healthy. So then you go out to the store and you demand meat and dairy. So the retail grocers demand that they get more meat and dairy.
Because it's some of the most expensive things in a store, too.
Right. And then that really detracts from your health, which sends you to the doctor who tells you that you need to change, like do a diet thing, if they even talk about diet at all, which most of the time they don't. Most of the time they just shove you full of synthetic pills, which we can get into the whole synthetic versus natural medicine anyways, because I really, hate that whole like, oh, we got the silver bullet. We just take this entire plant compound, realize that this entire plant compound can cure us. So when it comes to the medicine, they go and they look at what actually helps somebody. Like morphine was synthesized from the opium plant. And they look at the entire plant and they realize that, oh, this whole plant can fix something for us. And then they boil it down, they get the one active ingredient, and they're like, that's what it is, that's what makes the whole thing work. And they synthesize the crap out of it and they give you this little silver bullet. But it's not that one thing that works. That little thing works in such a small part. What actually works is the whole plant compound, because it all works together. It all balances off of each other. All of those molecules, all of everything, they coincide with each other. They work together. It's a cohesive thing. That's why the plant grows the way it does. It doesn't just, grow the one frickin' part.
Well, the earth gives us what we need.
Right. And so the doctors are wondering like, oh, well, why is there so many side effects? Well, because you're not giving them the full medicine. You're giving them the small part of the medicine that you think is working, when in actuality, you need the entire compound to work. That's why so many people find that these all natural, holistic, like full plant compound medicines work far better than trying to get those synthesized one-shot pills, is because you're trying to do something that it just doesn't work. You need the whole thing in order for it to come together. It's like trying to build a puzzle with only one piece of the puzzle. You can't do it. It doesn't work like that. So they send you go to the doctor because you're sick, because of the diet that you're consuming, and then they tell you that you need to eat more of this, or they give you the synthetic pill, which just keeps you just healthy enough to not die, but not cured, and then you just keep, it's just this vicious cycle. You go to the doctor, and they tell you like, oh, you need to eat more meat, you need to eat more dairy, you need to do blah, blah, blah. And then you go to the store and you demand those things. And then the store demands it of the meat and dairy companies. And then that all just works in tandem, because all these meat and dairy companies are funding all of the pharmaceutical companies who are telling you to go to the store and eat all these foods in tandem with the synthetic crap medicines that they're feeding you. And it's just this really terrible cycle.
Well, and like again, like with the whole like conspiracy thing, like if you look at like the top 10 families, they all have stocks in all of these things.
Right.
So whether or not you're healthy and you're eating, or you're sick and you're getting medicine, they're making money. And so that's the circle of life right now.
I think
that's what's going on.
The best thing that my dad said to me yesterday was, what if we just did away with money? Completely, entirely. How beautiful would the world be? You don't think there's people that want to be doctors just because they want to help people? You don't think that there's people that want to work with wood just because they want to work with wood, or bake bread because they like to bake bread? You literally, like, the system is so based around making money that people go to be doctors so that they can make money.
Are you talking about a trade system?
Yeah.
Well, the reason why, and Teal was talking about this recently, the issue with that, which is why money was created,
But money's a lie.
No.
Money was a seashell.
The reason is that the problem is with trading. You've got the guy over here who does baking, or we'll say like floor lamination, whatever. He has to go to the doctor. The doctor may not need his floor laminated, so you can't trade. So the reason money came about was because then there's an exchange that everyone can use. That's its reason. Everything else aside from that is humans twisting it and fucking it up.
Right, I know.
But the trade system oftentimes does fall short. So that's why it's important to probably do a lot more trading, but then have something else that's actually worth it. That's why gold and silver is great, because it actually has a worth, which is why that's so much.
It's a
well, they're conductors. They use it.
Yeah, they use it, but I'm saying like if I don't know how to work gold. If you just hand me a chunk of gold, it's freaking useless to me. Yeah,
well,
it's
what we
shiny
need to
and
work
whatnot,
on.
But what I'm saying is that the system right now is based on the lie that is money.
Well, it wouldn't be a trade system then. It would have to be something where everyone is just in a community where everyone helps each other.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Like,
but it couldn't be like a one-to-one
like,
trade.
Sounds like a trading system, but it's more like a trade barter community, like helping system.
Right.
I'm not saying like one loaf of bread equals one doctor's visit.
Right.
Because that's illogical, you know? Like if you go to the doctor and he tells you that you've got cancer, that one loaf of bread isn't going to cover everything that helps you get rid of cancer.
Right. So you'd have to be a community collective effort.
And that's what I'm saying. Like if everybody actually worked together, you know, like, and that was the point that when I was talking about with the money thing, you know, like you're right with like the gold and silver, because like some of that stuff you can use.
Or just something that's worth something.
But like back in the people literally were just like, oh, I don't have anything to give you, but here's a seashell. That means that I owe you something.
Right.
But what? It's a seashell. You know, like what are you actually trading for that seashell?
Right.
What, and like who's actually holding you accountable to giving that seashell back? That's the same thing if I were just like, you know, like what are you gonna do with this? What are you realistically going to do with this?
Well, it's an IOU.
Right. It's an IOU, but it's an illogical system because so many people, like you said, humans get, like, it could work.
Well, if everyone was taken
everybody
care
had
of.
a good conscience.
Right. But if everyone was taken care of, like, if a doctor likes doing surgery to help people, and he can walk out and get a car that he needs and go gets the food he wants and all of that stuff, then it wouldn't be an issue. There wouldn't be a draw to have money if we were abundant in our lives. That's the thing. We only want money because of what it can get us.
Right.
So if we had a system where everyone could get what they wanted within reason, not anything like, I mean, you know, maybe we could get other stuff, but like within reason, not anyone, like, not like, you know, the 1% sort of deal.
No, but yeah,
if we
so
sorted
greedy
that
right
out, no one would be drawn to money. They just say, I'm drawn to my passion, I'm going to help in the way I can, and I'm also taken care of.
Right.
Because people only make money to get what they want.
Right.
If they already could get what they want, it wouldn't be an issue.
But like I said, some of these people they're going into these fields just to get money so that they can live the lavish lifestyle that they think that they want.
But it doesn't really make them happy. That's why they always want more.
And that's like why you have doctors that refuse to take patients because they don't want to mess up their surgery numbers so that they can keep being the top doctor, so that they can keep I mean, yeah, I'm referencing Doctor Strange, but it's a very real thing. People refuse to work on people who need help because they don't want to mess up their numbers, because they just want to keep generating so much surplus money so that they can have these mansions that they don't even have enough stuff to fit inside these mansions.
Or it's not even like that. In What the Health, when the lady said, you can't talk to the doctor because sick people make the doctor money, and so we can't be a part of this because this is how he makes his money, so we can't go against that. Remember that part? So it's even more like that. It's like
but they want exactly, and that's like I keep hailing back to the Chinese medicine thing I heard a long time ago. They in China, and I have yet to fact check this, but even the idea of it being accurate is better than what we're dealing with now. But going to the doctor when you're in good health to find out how to keep your health good and maintain a good level of health and even elevate it more is better than only being allowed to go to the doctor when you're dying.
Yeah, you've already missed the boat on that.
Right, you've already missed the mark. You don't want to get to that point where you only go to get help when you're so far down that it's not, the help almost can't help you. You want to help yourself before you need help.